needed relief.
That's Abrams. Right now, Hurricane Felix is banging hard on the front door of Bermuda. It's already whipping the island chain with gale-force winds, heavy rain, and flooding. Felix has been downgraded to a Category 1 hurricane, but it still packs a dangerous punch. People have boarded up their homes and businesses across Bermuda. The winds and waves kicked up by Felix extend 115 miles from the center of the storm. Rough surf has already killed one person off Wilmington, North Carolina. Because of Felix, the riptide off Long Island is fierce. Lifeguards at Jones Beach ordered swimmers out of the water for most of the day. But again, the people in harm's way right now are on Bermuda. A short while ago, we spoke with a hotel guest who is vacationing in Bermuda. He is A.J. Lecamele from Fairview, New Jersey.
The windows have been taped. There's an indoor pool with a runway leading to it, all covered in glass, and a boat actually went through the glass before. And that indoor pool is now an outdoor pool. And that's all cut off. There's just wood and debris floating throughout the place. Some of the people panicked. The hotel was trying to keep everybody calm and collective. The building that I'm in is the Bay Wing. They evacuated the first floor last night, and they tore up all the carpeting because of the flooding. And as of last night, the room started to flood. They also evacuated in the main building, the top floor, because they feared that there might be roof damage, and they didn't want to take a chance with any of the people.
Despite the heavy wind and rain, resort managers are hoping for the best. Most homes and hotels on the island are built with concrete blocks to stand up to hurricanes.
Now, the storm's still out there at sea, but coastal areas across the tri-state region are already seeing the preliminary effects of the hurricane, primarily rough seas. Meteorologist Bill Evans has been tracking the storm to see where Felix might be headed next. Bill?
Well, Greg, the storm itself is still just to the southwest, about 75 miles from Bermuda. The center of the storm is not going to hit Bermuda, but it's going to come very close. They're already getting hurricane-force winds there of 74, 75 miles per hour. This is Bermuda right here, that small island, and you can see the center of the storm now is just to the southwest of there. They're getting into the northeast quadrant of the storm, which is the strongest portion of any hurricane, and you can see the banding with the storm is very wide and goes out very far. That's why we're getting some of the wave action here in the northeast, all across the Atlantic coast. Felix winds now at 5 o'clock, 85 miles per hour. It's a minimal hurricane, a Category 1 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. It is moving to the northwest, west-northwest at 14 miles per hour. Now let me show you where we expect the path of this storm to go in the coming days. Probably by Wednesday, the storm is going to be right here, just off the coast. Eventually by Thursday, it should be just off the Cape, but still, it's going to give us rough seas. There's a high surf advisory. That's going to continue for today, probably through about Thursday. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a minute in the Body of My AccuWeather forecast. Ross, back to you.
Bill, as you know, the reach of Felix is impressive. We're feeling its effects along our shoreline. At Jones Beach today, the riptide was extremely dangerous. Swimmers were ordered out of the water at 8 of the park's 9 beaches for much of the day. Lara Spencer has more. She is live at Jones Beach. Lara.
Roz, swimming was opened up just a couple of hours ago here at Jones Beach. Lifeguards finally confident the current had settled down sufficiently. But less than 5 minutes after they allowed swimmers in, the sound of 2 short whistle blows rang out, signaling a rescue. 11-year-old Patrick Egan had to be rescued by lifeguards when he wrenched his back and neck, and he was only wading in the surf along the shoreline. It's the first serious injury of the day at Jones Beach, and lifeguards are surprised, considering the surf.
Today, this is beyond riptide. This is just pounding shore break. It's going to hold you under and break your neck. It's dangerous for anybody.
Hundreds of sun lovers lined up at Jones Beach parking lot got the bad news first thing this morning.
What's going on here?
What was going on was this. No swimming at all at Jones Beach or practically any of the beaches along the south shore of Long Island. The problem? Hurricane Felix had churned up 6 to 8 foot waves that slammed the shoreline and a riptide that kept lifeguards busy non-stop. Lifeguards dove in for dozens of saves. Thankfully, all were close calls, but terrifying nonetheless. Debbie Hackman's nephew, Anthony, was one of them.
Now, he was standing back here and it washed him away anyway, but he's all right.
Well, there's always a bright side. Those same huge waves that are keeping people out of the ocean created a natural alternative 100 yards up the shore. With no place to boogie, most just kind of wallowed, but it beat the scorching sun, and from far away, the dangerous surf made for great scenery.
Still get some sun here, and the water's, it's got a nice visual sight to it.
Yeah, but would you go in it?
I would go in it personally, yeah. I like to ride the wave.
That opportunity came just after 3 p.m. when lifeguards put up green flags signifying a limited opening.
We're still trying to keep them in. We'd prefer that they, not go out too far, but it's still some dangerous conditions, but certainly not as dangerous as it was before.
Well, lifeguards say if you are in the water and get caught up in a riptide, don't panic, don't try to fight it, just wade parallel to it or ride it out. Unfortunately, riptides are going to be a very real threat here for the next couple of days. We're live at Jones Beach. Lara Spencer, Channel 7.
And Len Berman. This is News for New York at 6.
And good evening, Chuck and Carol. A hurricane called Felix. The fierce storm is bearing down on Bermuda with waves pounding the shores of the resort island chain. People have abandoned the shorefront and either left the island or moved inland. Is Felix headed here? The big question. Al Droker tracking the hurricane.
Well, thanks a lot, Ralph. We don't know the answer to that question. You can see Felix now. That little black dot is Bermuda. It's passing to the south of Bermuda right now, but right now Bermuda is getting buffeted with hurricane-force winds of up to 85 miles per hour. It's 75 miles south-southwest of Bermuda. It's moving west-northwest at 14 miles per hour. Latest National Weather Service plots put it moving toward the east, and then, I should say toward the west, and then making a turn and heading to the north. However, we've got a couple of different paths to show you a little bit later. In any event, in all likelihood, we are going to be under a hurricane watch by tomorrow morning, and it'll exist from Cape Hatteras all the way up to Boston. We'll have the details on that a little bit later. Ralph?
All right, Al, we'll check back with you. The hurricane is already affecting our shores with dangerous surf and riptides. Along the Jersey shore, swimmers are being kept away from the beaches in Belmar, Asbury Park, Point Pleasant Beach, Long Branch, and Sandy Hook. Among the beaches closed to swimmers on Long Island, Tobay Beach, Robert Moses Beach, and Jones Beach. Right now, Long Island reporter M.G. Perez is at Jones Beach.
Ralph, for the moment, a small piece of ocean is allowed for swimming here at Jones Beach in front of the Central Mall. But for the most part this afternoon, there are red flags up across Long Island, that is, warning no swimming allowed. And lifeguards' best advice is beware, Hurricane Felix could be on the way. Lifeguards here at Jones Beach have been reminding people all day that this is not a game. The crashing waves at high tide this morning left a channel of water between the boardwalk and the ocean, and the ocean is still churning.
The waves are very big. There's a lot of currents and undertows, riptides. It's a major sweep. We have a problem with people just being on the sand. The waves are coming up, knocking them down, and pulling them back into the water.
On the tip of Fire Island, bulldozers are being used for drainage here at Robert Moses State Park. They're also clearing lifeguard stands and equipment because the rush of water is only expected to get worse if Hurricane Felix continues on his current course. And many people don't get the message.
Dangerous condition, real dangerous. The kind where people could get their necks broken or, really severely injured.
In New Jersey, there are also swimming restrictions off beaches from Seabright to Point Pleasant, although there is wading allowed here at Asbury Park, and experienced surfers are still being given a chance to catch a big wave. That won't last long once Felix makes his next move. Most concern, of course, is during high tide. That happens next here at about 11:14 tonight and again at 11:43 tomorrow morning. Reporting live from Jones Beach, I'm M.G. Perez, News 4 Long Island. Ralph, back to you.
All right, M.G., thank you. Beach officials say they'll assess whether swimming will be allowed on an hourly basis.
Perfectly honest, we are watching and waiting. We've been tracking this thing since late last week, and it is still out there. Let's check it out for you right now. Our weather, well, it's been a balmy, humid, hazy day, 83 degrees, mostly sunny skies at Central Park, southeasterly winds at 8, relative humidity 56%, barometer holding steady. Right now, as we take a look at what's going on with Hurricane Felix, it is skirting just to the south of Bermuda. It has 75 miles south-southwest of Bermuda with winds of 85 miles per hour, but tropical force winds spread out 300 miles from the center of the storm. It's moving west-northwest at 14 miles per hour. Now, between a jet stream that is well up to our north, high pressure that's out over the Atlantic, this system coming in, we've got a possibility of two scenarios right now. Path 1, tonight, it's just to the west-southwest of Bermuda, and that takes it, the current path takes it just to the off the Delmarva Peninsula by Thursday afternoon. Path 2 brings it closer to Cape Hatteras. It could be anywhere in between, further south or further north. If it sounds like we don't know, well, it's a hurricane. We have to just keep watching, but in all likelihood, hurricane watches will be up in effect from Charleston or Cape Hatteras all the way up into Boston within the next 12 to 14 hours, I would expect, and we will continue to watch this. The one thing we do know, riptide and strong surf will be the case right along the New Jersey shoreline and the southern Long Island shoreline as well. Forecast for tonight, hazy and humid, mid to upper 60s north and west, upper 60s along the coast, mid 70s here in town. Tomorrow morning, hazy and humid, temperatures will be in the low 80s, mid 70s along the coastal areas. Tomorrow, strong surf advisories and riptide advisories in effect. Easterly winds 10 to 20 knots. Look at those waves. 8 to 11 feet on the ocean, water temperature 69 to 75. 5 days ahead for you. Well, it's all going to be a question mark, especially once we get to Thursday, depending on what Felix does. Right now, though, Tuesday, tomorrow, 91 degrees with high humidity. Wednesday, 88 degrees. Thursday, Friday, could be torrential downpours and perhaps get a little help for our drought. Temperatures in the mid-80s. Saturday, sunshine and a temperature of 87 degrees. We'll update you coming up tonight at 11 o'clock with the latest on hurricane.
Name of the game is stay close on this one.
Basically.
Okay, and here's Len now with more.